Now back to today's main story, of course it is, in Scotland. Miss Madonna and Guy Ritchie are threatening to biff their son's Scottish christening quicker than a ray of light if the gathering world media gets somewhat unruly. Little Rocco Ritchie is due to be dipped in the Dornoch Cathedral font tomorrow ahead of his mum and dad's wedding on Friday. But the cancellation warning comes after a meeting between the parents, their security advisors and the police. The countdown to the altar continues right here on Liquid News. Yeah, knock, knock, who's at the door? Yeah, it's live to the Eagle Public House in Dornoch and our chief wedding watch reporter, Mr. Robert Nisbet. Robert, you're at a pub. What a surprise. Are you sober tonight?
I am, actually. I intend not to be in about 2 hours' time. But, yeah, this is the Eagle Hotel, as you can see. And also, it says vacancies, which is very interesting. So it just goes to say, don't believe a word the journalists tell you. You can get a hotel room. And 50 yards down that way is the cathedral where the christening is going to take place tomorrow.
Let's start with this main story. The rumours that Madonna and Guy may call the christening off because potentially the Belgian press corps may get a little bit bullshit. It's always the Belgians, isn't it?
It's always the Belgians, you're absolutely right. No, as you say, it is a rumour. That's what it is at the moment. It started at 1 o'clock, probably in a hostelry, very much like this, where reporters come to oil their synapses. It started around 1. Obviously, one reporter overheard another reporter on a mobile phone, and it spread. So a few cameramen went down to Skibo Castle just in case there was an official announcement, but there was no official announcement. The other sign that this is a rumour and probably not true is that later on this afternoon, Sting and Trudy Styler arrived at Dornoch Cathedral. Now, Sting is obviously meant to be singing at the christening itself, and we understand that he went in there just to test acoustics and see the position where he's going to be singing, maybe trying a little bit out on the organ. I'm not absolutely certain. But that seems to suggest that if he was prepared to run the gamut of reporters outside the cathedral, that it still is on.
Why can't they just have a Charlotte Church CD at a christening like everyone else? They have to go and have Sting anyway. You've been in the church, I understand, today, kind of loitering around the font. What have you got for us?
We're very lucky. Well, I'll answer that. Do you mind if we go inside, actually, because I can hear the beer calling, to be perfectly honest. Yes, as well as some florists and some electricians who came in, because apparently one of the lights in the nave was a little faulty. We actually got a key from the church elder as well, who very kindly showed us around the cathedral and basically showed us some of the high points and, of course, where all of this is going to be happening. We're actually inside now. So, while you watch this, I am going to help myself to a nice pint of Foster's. Across from the 13th century cathedral, a field of aluminium marks out the photographer's territory, the snappers protecting every square inch by chaining their ladders to the rails. All lenses trained on the path that'll take Madonna, Guy Ritchie and Rocco out of the Highland air and into the south transept, then past the gathered ranks with an estimated street value of £3 billion to reach the historic font. Built in 1224, burned down in a clan battle in 1570, and reconstructed in 1830, the cathedral is a living testament to bloody conflict. Our tour guide, church elder Ian Harper-Ross.
We're standing on the bones of several dead earls. For several hundred years, this was the burial place for the Earls of Sutherland.
That's a very pleasant thought. So Madonna and Guy Ritchie will be standing around there with little baby Rocco.
Feeling very nervous, I expect.
Obviously, one of the highlights of the cathedral, the stained glass windows.
Yes, particularly those three there. They are really the glory of the cathedral. Beautiful lustrous greens and vibrant blues. When the sun shines, there's a lovely, warm, rich glow about it. Beautiful. Sir Richard was killed in battle. And the Earl paid for a very magnificent sarcophagus to be constructed to hold the bones of this valiant knight.
And they're warming up the pipes for tomorrow's valiant night. Today, Sting was testing the acoustics. Tomorrow, Rocco will no doubt do the same when he's splashed in front of the celebrity crowd. And, of course, the media aren't actually allowed inside the church. They're far too canny for that. But we'll have our ears pressed up against the door just to see whether Rocco does actually bring the whole cathedral down with his screaming. Let's hope he does.
A great big barrel of Australian beer has just arrived in our studio. I'm not sure what that's about. But anyway, the other rumour, let's just deal with that before we come to that. Elton John playing a song for Guy. Can I smell some very rancid cheese here?
Well, it's a headline writer's dream, really, isn't it? And I think that's probably why it developed, because he wrote Song for Guy, obviously. I don't think he can make his way to absolutely every single wedding and function that actually happens around the country. I don't think he's going to be here, but I'm not going to put my head on the block and say definitely no. I don't think it's going to be like Live Aid inside there. I think it's just going to be Sting is going to do one song, and that's going to be it. Let's hope so, anyway.
No Celine Dion, because that's what I always like at a good wedding, of course. Now, we're in your snug, and thank you very much for being in the snug. Is anyone prepared to talk to you?
I think they probably are, actually. I mean, they're fairly fed up. Let me just try one. Excuse me. Tapped very gently. Hello there. Hi. I'm Robert.
Hi,
you are?
Gillian.
There we go, Gillian. Now, you live in Dornoch?
I do, yes.
Are you enjoying all of this?
Oh, yes, it's brilliant. Really exciting. So good for the town.
Really? In what way?
Just brings all this publicity to the town and all the extra people. It's just great for all the businesses. Really.
Now, do you have any relatives or friends who work in Skibo Castle? Can they tell us what's going on inside there?
I have a few friends, but they're not letting any secrets out.
Have you tried? Have you spoken to them and said, look, tell me?
I've tried to tickle them to get them to tell me, but nothing's been said. It's just nothing at all.
I need a scoop here. I really need a scoop, because basically my journalistic career is on the line. If I don't get a scoop fairly shortly. See, Christopher knows that. Could you tell me anything, please?
I can't tell you anything, but maybe christening tomorrow night at the Cathedral. Don't know time. I've heard it's maybe at between 6 and half 6. I've heard it's at 5:30. I've heard it's at 8. So nobody knows. And weddings, as far as I know, at Skibo, and that's all I can tell you.
And all I can tell you as well, that don't bother watching us if you want any information at all, because we haven't got the faintest idea what's going on either. They are so good at keeping this whole thing entirely secret and under wraps, and basically the threat of dismissal, I suppose, at Skibo Castle has been good enough to actually get people to shut up.
I've heard it's chicken fricassee on the menu. Can you confirm that?
Now, I would have thought it would be pheasant fricassee, to be perfectly honest, because Guy Ritchie and his friends have been doing their best to decimate the pheasant population up here since they've been up here this week. They've been out shooting, so I would have thought that would probably be very good. Of course, Madonna won't touch it because she's a strict vegetarian. But
OK, Robert, we'll be back with you live at the end of the show, and hopefully you will have bought a round by then, but we'll see if that's some breaking news we can report. Robert joining us live from Dornoch inside his snug in the Eagle. My studio guest still waiting for their invites tonight, our Radio 1 DJ Scott Mills, and also with us is the comedian and broadcaster Jenny Ross, so calling him obviously over there. Next up, heads in cowboy hats and hands in cowgirl muffs. We're heading back to Scotland next. Yep, let's go back live. There's Jenny, she's having a whale of a time on tonight's show. Back to the snug in the Eagle, and I hope you haven't drunk that because it's against BBC producer guidelines. We're doing comedy tonight, Robert.
It wasn't mine, it was somebody else's. Yes, no, absolutely. No, it's the kind of liquid news that I really love, to be perfectly honest. We're having a lovely time in here. I actually drank quite a lot, didn't I, in that short space of time?
Excuse me, could you just move across from the bar, sir? Because you're blocking that man behind you. He wants to get to the bar.
He wants to get to the bar. No, he's perfectly happy, I think, drinking there at the moment. But there is a barman here. Fantastic. Now, it's been quite busy tonight. Is it always like this, or is it just the draw of Madonna?
Excuse me,
It's
sir.
the draw of Madonna at this time of year, but we're not as busy as we would be normally in the summer. We're probably only half as busy as we would be in a normal summer's day.
Really? Why's that?
Well, we have a championship golf course in Dornoch, and we get an awful lot of Americans come into Dornoch to play golf. It's very famous in the United States, much more famous there than it is in the UK. So we get an awful lot of visitors.
Now, what are you going to be doing tomorrow night? Are you expecting this to be really packed? Because obviously the christening is only happening just up the road, isn't it?
Yes, it's only about 300 metres up the road, but we expect that everybody will leave the bar and be down there, and if we get the chance, we'll follow.
Robert, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Thank you very much. A nice empty bar for us.
Chatting up the barman.
Yes, sorry.
Lovely work. Well done.
Just have a little
Congratulations
chat.
for that. Just one story. We'd like to talk about Madonna just very, very briefly. We can all apparently watch the christening or the arrivals tomorrow on a webcam, can't we? Do you know about this?
I do indeed. A camera has been affixed across the Dornoch Castle Hotel, just across from the Cathedral. It's been fixed way up high on one of the turrets. And basically, if you go to madonnamusic.com or comvista.com as well, you'll be able to actually see what goes on. And they're anticipating the demand to actually outstrip the 9 million hits that they got when Madonna did her 29-minute promotional set at Brixton Academy earlier in the year. So if you want to have a look at what's going on, rather than watch Liquid News, I can't imagine that you would want to miss that, then log on to that if you want.
Okay, Robert, enjoy the rest of that pint, and please let that be just all you're going to have tonight, because you've got to be on that fence with the railings outside that church bright and early tomorrow, okay?
I can't tell you how excited I am.
Anyway, thank you very much for that, Robert, reporting live. Thank you very much to Scott and Jenny. Thank you very much for being with us. Let's go to the close.